Thank you for coming this morning. We just have a couple of quick things to hopefully brighten your week on a Monday. We are starting a radio ad campaign. Actually, it started a couple of days ago to coincide with the short session of General Assembly reconvening. This is a statewide radio buy, and I'm not at liberty to discuss how much money we spent or exactly where we spent it, but it's a statewide radio buy. And Mr. Shaw, if you will cue up the ad.
Governor Beverly Perdue.
And to make North Carolina actually the best place in the world, not just in America or in the South, but in the world to start or grow a business.
Now, while that's running, on a somewhat lighter note, we have a new web ad that we're launching today, which Mr. Shaw will show you.
Right, it's Governor Bev Perdue, who treated you last year to a $1 billion tax increase during a recession, teaming up with her band of big spenders, Mark Moneybags Fast Night and Joe Tax Me Hackney. Here's our somewhat humorous attempt at an old rock and roll poster, live at the Capitol, backed by unpopular man, $1 billion Bev and the Backbreakers. Well, the point, John, is to remind the people of North Carolina that a year ago, the Democrats, or actually a little more than a year ago now, the Democrats controlled General Assembly, convened, and the governor and the leaders in the General Assembly said they weren't going to raise taxes. And then shortly into the session, the governor actually proposed $1.5 billion in new tax increases, and they subsequently passed a $1 billion tax increase, about 80% of which was a sales tax, which hits everybody in North Carolina. And so this is just a reminder, hopefully, to the Democrats that people are watching, that they don't want their taxes raised again, that they expect spending to be cut first. And as a matter of fact, if the Democrats would just freeze spending at the current level or the 2008 level, I believe they would probably not have a budget deficit or much of one to speak of. The budget deficit that they talked about last year, which they first said was around $4 billion, ended up being a few hundred million when all the dust settled and cleared. So hopefully they'll do the right thing. This is just an attempt at a humorous reminder to the Democrat-controlled General Assembly that the people of North Carolina are watching and they don't want their taxes increased again. I think the economy and jobs is going to be the principal issue, at least from our perspective, in the general election, and taxes, has a real impact on that. So, yeah, taxes will play into that. For instance, when Governor Perdue, the month before she took office, unemployment was about 8.1% in North Carolina. It's been over 11 now for 2 or 3 months. And our ad says 90,000 people out of work, but I think at one point there were around 140,000 unemployed North Carolinians when unemployment spiked at about 11.8. Raising taxes $1 billion we think certainly contributed to the jobless rate in North Carolina, and certainly the timing of the two are pretty inextricably linked. Just about her entire tenure as governor, unemployment has been going up and has been in double digits almost the whole time. But it's going to be jobs and the economy are the issues we're going to focus on, and that's what these ads, these efforts tend to highlight, this messaging. I hope this will be a short session, and if the Republican leaders in the General Assembly have anything to do with it, it'll be a session completely devoted to jobs and the economy. North Carolina is a state, and North Carolinians are hurting. They're out of work. Their wages have plummeted. Houses aren't selling. It's the worst economic conditions we've seen in the state that anybody can remember, and certainly the worst since they started keeping records. So I hope the short session of General Assembly will be completely focused on jobs and the economy. The only other thing that I think that would be very helpful is that there were some legislative reforms, ethical reforms, 3 bills in particular that passed the House with substantial margins. I think one of them did not have a single dissenting vote that got bottled up in the Senate in the last session of the General Assembly. They could
they could get those out in a half a day's work if they would, and that I think would help a lot in North Carolina and get people to thinking the government's serious about earning people's confidence again. But I think now's the time to focus on jobs and the economy. And I think, having talked to Republican leaders, they certainly agree with that. And from what I read of what the Democrat leaders are saying in the paper, they're saying the same thing. So hopefully we can get some bipartisan work done. And I would even like to see the General Assembly propose a tax cut in the short session, reduce some spending, freeze spending at other levels, and give the citizens of North Carolina some much-needed tax relief, because they certainly need it.